Hello, welcome to Cricbuzz Chatter once again at the end of day 3 of this test match. It just keeps going. Cricbuzz Chatter, remember, brought to you in association with Cricbuzz 11, the fantasy gaming app from the house of Cricbuzz. Alongside me today is a very hungry young man, Dinesh Karthik. No, they don't give you food on Sky, or what?
Harsha, I'm hungry. No, I am full because I met one man who is actually someone that I've always only seen and heard of.
Yeah.
But for a man of his stature, it's unbelievable how down to earth genuinely he is. Humble and that man only embodies that.
So interesting. He came on air for a while, and he said once Washington Sundar started to do very well, his friends in Google told him, "So you're the California Sundar." So the California Sundar and the Washington Sundar. But it's incredible. Here's a man who heads one of the largest corporations in the world, one of the most path-breaking corporations in the world. He's just coming and standing quietly over here, goes quietly into the box and meets DK, and comes and tells me, "You know what? I met DK today." And so that will make you feel a little better. But humility, I've seen that among all great people. The essence of greatness is lies in your humility, and I was very, very proud to see that in him.
I mean, just the fact that he's told you I wasn't there, that he
Yeah,
watches us speak on Cricbuzz,
yeah.
such a nice feeling. I'm not gonna, uh, try and play it down because genuinely, when you do a show like this, the fact is that we know there's a lot of cricket fans around the world who switch on Cricbuzz and watch it. But when Sundar Pichai, who's obviously a cricket tragic, so he's watching a few shows, and then when he chooses to watch our show and he gets information out of watching our show, I'm not gonna.
I'll tell you what else he did today. He was on Sony with me today, briefly, a couple of overs. When the bowler ran in, he paused. And when the bowler bowled, he started again. I said, "Gee, you picked that up pretty quickly." So yeah, that was one of the highlights of the day. It's wonderful to see. He's a part owner of one of the franchises now, the Lords franchise. So he'll probably get a game there. But the game today itself was fascinating. I don't think too many people expected when the day started at 75 for two that India would go on to 396. You'll see Yashasvi Jaiswal in that list, 118. It was a very mature innings when at a time when batting was still a little difficult. It eased up as you went along, but I thought the essence lay in what you got towards the later end from a Jadeja, from a Washington, from a Jurel, and at the top, the first person we will talk about today. I love night watchmen. There's something I just love night watch. They're the most irritating people in the game.
If they're not your opponent.
Correct.
But
especially if they're your opponent and they hang in there like Akash Deep did today.
True.
Yeah.
What Akash Deep did today is quite phenomenal. Got 66 of 94. That's what the scoreboard says, but the effects it would have had mentally on England because they had three pacers and they bowled a lot of their top two pacers, which was Gus Atkinson
Yes.
and Josh Tongue, primarily to Akash Deep and Yashasvi Jaiswal at the start. So when a majority of the overs is bowled to them, by the time Shubman Gill and the other players came out to bat, they had not so much to face. In all fairness, they did still bowl, but when they were fresh, when the wicket was nice and crisp in the morning, majority of the batting was done by one Mr. Akash Deep, who actually applied himself. And I feel being part of quite a few teams, when your lower order tail wags, it almost tells you how determined the team is.
Yes,
They really
absolutely.
want to fight it out and want to be there saying, I want to be there and make sure I annoy the opponents because for any team which has been on the field, the last thing that they want to see is lower order runs or someone or some night watchman scoring runs.
I like your use of the word crisp for the pitch because it told me that you're hungry for either a dosa or a Malabar paratha.
I am. I'm not going to lie. I am a bit hungry.
Yeah,
I
but
did make up when I said I was happy and content with seeing Sundar Pichai, which is very true. But partly I'm hungry genuinely from a body point of view. We'll get to that. There's a lot of
yes,
food talks that we have, but we'll get to that.
I'll tell you who else was hungry today, and I was mighty impressed. Yes, of course, very impressed with Akash Deep. Dinesh Karthik had said, "I wonder if I can get 30 minutes of Akash Deep." He got about 90, so that probably will fill your belly with happiness.
Food jokes we'll keep for the end, Harsha.
No, it's a metaphor. In the English language, you're the metaphor.
Oh.
It just goes along. But I'll tell you who was hungry. Who was hungry was Yashasvi Jaiswal, and I thought it was a very mature innings. He's coming off a phase where he's got 2-0-0 with a 50 in between. And then to put it all together.
And that's what you need to do when you come to a place like England. There are going to be certain things that are bound to happen. One is getting beaten. Very normal. It doesn't. You don't need to judge yourself when you get beaten. Two, if you play a certain shot, you get lucky by some fielder dropping your catch, or the odd run out that isn't taken when you're batting. These are normal things. A lot of batters across their career get it. But just like what you said, it's what you do
Yeah.
when that happens. I think he made it count. He was dropped on 20 and 40, but he didn't get out at 45. He went on and scored 115. He was there when the score was 274. So that tells me that it wasn't just about him. He wanted to bat so long and deep because he missed getting 100 at the start. He's basically got 100 top and tail of the series, first and last innings,
Yes.
and he's made it count every time he's gone past 50. I really enjoy the determination and the hunger that that kid has in wanting to score those runs outside of India. He's got 600s, four outside of India so far. But one in Australia, two in England, and there's got one more in West Indies. So what more can you ask from a young boy like that in a series like this?
It was wonderful. Normally, you look at young players, and the first thing that strikes you is talent. What gives you an idea of their longevity is their temperament and adaptability to different situations. His talent is unmatched, but I loved his adaptability, and it was a very exciting phase watching him and Akashdeep bat. Talking of exciting, there's lots of exciting things you can do, can't you? You can do lots of exciting things on the Cricbuzz 11 app. Just download it for 1 rupee. And what do you do with 1 rupee these days? There's lots more you can do on that app as well. It was a day of parts as you went along. Suddenly, after lunch, this bit spiced up a little bit. So we thought it was the effect of the heavy roller initially, that the ball wasn't doing such a lot. And then for a while after lunch, suddenly the ball started to do something, and a couple of wickets fell pretty quickly in there. Gill, I thought Karun Nair wasn't quite himself. Now you're 229, 273. That is when it all started. That 50 with Jurel and Jadeja, then Jadeja and Washington, and then Washington and Washington and Washington and Washington with Prasidh Krishna watching on. By the way, a very
Not
unusual
Prasidh,
record.
California Sundar watching on.
By the way, what an interesting record. The highest partnership ever in Indian cricket where one partner has not scored a single run.
Oh,
39 that they put on today.
these kind of unreal stats are already pick up from Harsha.
I pick up from people who WhatsApp them to me. But let's talk about Jadeja. He's crossed 500 runs in the series, and it's just a coming of age. I mean, you still don't know whether he's going to be a permanent number six. I think he deserves to be a permanent number six. But when you go back to India, will you play six batters, two spinners, three spinners? Will you go back to seven, Washington to eight?
You play anybody, boss. Play Jadeja at 6. You play Washington at 8 and play Akshar Patel at 7. Period. Who you want to play 1 to 5 and who you want to play 9 to 11 is your choice. These three have to play. Akshar Patel, Jadeja, and Washington, write them first in your 11 and then you start the rest. You add Kuldeep if you want. You add Bumrah if you want. You add Siraj if you want. Whether you want to go three paces, one spinner, one finger, whatever you want, you can do. These three actually make it to the Indian team purely on the skills of their batting. They're giving you so much.
It's
And we've seen
incredible
Akshar
value.
Patel as well without forgetting him. I'm on turning tracks. He's as good a player as anybody else.
Yeah.
They can't be ignored after this. They got to make it to the 11 purely because of the attitude they're showing, Harsha. I mean, what Jadeja has shown in this series, come on, 315 is the average in the second innings. First time he's gotten out in this second innings, which tells you everything about the man. Second innings is generally the hardest place to play, and a lot of the time, second innings could be fourth innings as well. And he has come and saved a test match in Manchester, got runs in Edgbaston. Leeds also, he did what was required. He is the ultimate all-rounder that you would want when you go abroad because he gives you a few overs with the ball. If the pitch is good enough, he'll get you a few wickets. With the bat, you almost rest assured of what you can get from him. He goes in there, he plays time, he's got a low back lift, almost gets into line consistently, improved on so many shots. The
Yeah.
pull shot that he's bringing now to the fore, quite a good shot. And I think for this World Test Championship cycle, he's one of those non-negotiable players in the 11. He's solid.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy you said you can rest assured. Because nowadays there's this amazing new expressions that keep coming up. People say you can be rest assured. I have no idea what that means. Either you can be assured or you can rest assured. But that's okay. You can rest assured. I thought he batted really well. But by then the attack was starting to tire a little bit because Atkinson had put in a long burst. I thought he bowled really well. Tung had put in a long burst, no support from the fielders. And then at that crucial moment, I thought Dhruv Jurel played a nice little cameo.
Nice.
It was starting to look, 270, 280 might be enough around that time. And then as the pitch eased out, we all get greedy as the target goes along. And I thought that innings of 34, there was a partnership there. Then Washington Sundar 53. When that starts to happen, you know that there is, you talked about Akashdeep. When the tail starts to wag, you see the attitude running in there. So I thought Jurel played some classical shots. And then the other Sundar, in
Ati Sundar.
Washington was Ati Sundar. There used to be one ad long back. मैं सुंदर अति सुंदर मैं
Around
सबसे सुंदर हूँ. That is before you were
1940s.
born. Before you were born.
1940s.
Before you were born. I should have done this program with your father, Human Reddy, actually.
1938 that ad was there, but anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So Jurel and Washington Sundar. So tell me a little bit about what you thought about Jurel, because I think we're going to spend some time absolutely enjoying what Washington Sundar did at the end. The ability to move from being a proper test match batter to being a T20 batter. Just switched like that and he hit 4 sixes. Sumptuous sixes.
Beautiful shots.
Yeah.
When he picked length, he went up and over. Interestingly, I'd done a piece about how the short ball was actually troubled him a little bit. And what he needs to do is get up and under and not control to look to hit it down, but just go for a six. And that's exactly what he did when he put his mind to it and said, I'm switching into sixth gear. He did that beautifully. Just got under and hit it quite nicely over fine leg for a couple of sixes. Then that slap over deep mid wicket of Gus Atkinson was the shot of the day.
Yeah.
What a shot. That is a statement in itself. He just went bang. And you can hear the sound of the bat itself. It's just great to see. I'm sure you're going to say something about the bang, but we'll come to that later.
No.
But it was really a terrific shot. And the kind of innings that he's playing so far, I think he's shown character. He's shown a lot of adaptability. He's been sent at number 5 in the last test, went and saved the game. Outstanding. I thoroughly enjoy the kid, young boy. I've seen him in Chennai when he was just 14 years old. They were raving about his batting today in England in conditions which were favorable to the bowler. Just played nicely in the first innings, second innings as well. 4 fours and 4 sixes. For me, those 4 sixes tell me that this man is now just slowly but steadily going up the ranks as a T20 batter as well. Because the with a red ball, upright seam, the ball doing a bit, if you can hit those sixes over mid wicket and square leg so consistently, he's going to push people now in the Indian team in white ball formats as well. They haven't seen him seriously enough, but this series here will almost make you feel you can't be without him because he gives you gun off spin, superb fielder, and if he gives you the batting like he is giving now, where he can bat with the tail and win you games, why not, Harsha?
Yeah. The only thing in that long and very well articulated answer that I enjoyed, I enjoyed many things, but the one I enjoyed most was, and going straight to camera, one of India's brightest young broadcasters is worried about what the guy at the other end is going to say about one of the words that he used. Don't worry, you're going to be, you're going like Washington Sundar in this world, so you'll be fine. You felt a little bit for England because they were without Chris Wokes, and it was a handicap. It's a huge handicap. Look what it meant. It meant that Atkinson and Tongue, because I'm not sure. Jamie Overton will give you a good ball. I'm not sure is a frontline seamer still capable of being one of 3 at this level. So it came down to Atkinson and Tongue. They were tired. And you could see the effect of missing Chris Wokes, which brings us back to the debate, which we will have another day, on whether you should have injury replacements in the game. I really thought, I know we are India-centric on this podcast, but I really thought England deserved to have another bowler with them. But that's for another day. That's a long.
I have my opinion on it. We'll keep it for another day. There's a lot we'll talk
Okay, that is just his simple upbringing telling me politely that he disagrees with me. But that's okay.
I would say disagree, Harsha. I have a different opinion on it. That's
fair enough. We'll do that one day. Producer, one day. Tongue Atkinson. Yeah, how much did they miss Wokes?
Listening to Stuart Broad, he said he can't remember many games when a bowler has gone out of the game so early and England has won a test match, because the workload he feels falls so much on other fast bowlers that you end up trying too hard, one, and because you've tried too hard, when you come back for your second and third spell, you end up being more tired, and the pitch, even if it has a lot to offer, you don't get the whole effect out of the pitch because you've tried so hard in your first spell psychologically, knowing that you might have to bowl deep. Sometimes you conserve it and you don't know how to utilize that energy. When you have 4 bowlers, you exactly know how to move around, but when you have 3 bowlers and on a pitch like this the workload is tremendously on you, you start thinking differently, and that's how it affects the whole bowling unit. And you could see the after effects of Wokes not being there, because Gus Atkinson and Josh Tongue almost knew they had to do the bulk of the bowling, especially Gus Atkinson. And that's why I thought he bowled really nicely in the first innings, but not so much in the second innings. I thought Josh Tongue was slightly better in terms of the consistency. And Josh Tongue has just played 3 test matches and he's become the highest wicket taker, just behind Siraj, or on par with Siraj, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. 5 for 100 and 25, 30 overs. Tell me, at the point at which the innings ended, the most frustrating thing for England, top and tail, Akashdeep at the top, hugely frustrating. And then the runs that the last wicket partnership gets. You've been a test match opener too. When number 11 comes into bat, in your mind, you're starting to think, right, I'm going to bat. Then 39 runs get added. And that 39 just feels like another 100 almost. And that would have been extremely frustrating. At that point, did you think India had enough?
I
When the
think
innings ended, forget what happened in the last 75 minutes of batting. At that point, when the Indian innings ended, did you think there was enough?
100%. I was convinced India needs 280 to 300 on this pitch.
But the pitch has eased out, no?
No, it
Okay,
feels
that's
like that because the way they batted. Tomorrow, if it
yeah,
is one or two kicks up, we haven't got wickets. That's because the fact that whatever kicked up didn't probably
yeah.
get the edge. I feel there is enough in this pitch to work with. Even if you get 300 on board, you got to understand they got 240 on a spicy pitch, but they were off to an absolute flyer. They were
Yes,
90. If you look
yes.
at it, they could have easily been all out 200. So that tells me 280 to 300 is still very,
Mm.
very workable for India in terms of a bowling unit trying to defend a total.
So let's look at it a little bit from England's point of view before we look at what exactly happened in those last 75 minutes, and that is hotspot. Such a lot of talk about baseball. Such a lot of talk about how they're making Test cricket really interesting to watch, about how they're opening the mind. And I agree on all those points. And yet, no Ashes, no win against India, no place in WTC. Is it working? Is it not working? Will it work for them tomorrow, in your view? Will they have to adapt their style a bit like they did initially in the run chase in Headingley?
So for a
You
start, we
like
have to
baseball? Yeah.
understand baseball is a style of play that they've adopted and a media coined term. But the fact is that where it was their Test cricket when when Ben Stokes and
Yeah. They
and
won one
Brendan
in
McCullum took
17, I think.
exactly.
Yeah.
So at that stage, they were really struggling. From that, they've revived. They've gotten better and they've started competing. They've played in a style which is very attractive to watch. And I think they went so hard at it. At times, they had to pull back and they've found a decent middle ground. Now,
Yes.
if you see, they've got 2-2 in Ashes at home. Their big test is when they go down under because all they have done in the last couple of years is prepare for that. We at India value World Test Championship a lot. Ben Stokes, for some strange reason, doesn't understand the table itself. He said so. I don't know if that's a bit of an excuse, but the fact is that if they have the potential to compete and be part of that final, if they play well enough, what baseball lacks is not so much the batting. I think the batting is actually coming good. They have a pretty well settled unit and a well oiled batting unit so far. But their bowling has actually struggled. They have let go of abroad. They have told Anderson, I think it's
Yes.
time you move on. So, when experienced players like that go, they have said, all right, let's look at the younger lot. And they have not probably come as good with a few injuries around the corner. Gus Atkinson wasn't there for a majority of the series. We had Joff Archer who played a couple of test matches. So they've had their challenges with the bowling. I think baseball is a term that they've coined more so for batting because the style of play. I feel this England team is fun to watch without a doubt. And I think if tomorrow we are coming in
Mhm.
feeling that, oh, you know what, they can get it, that's because they've done it so many times in the
Exactly.
past.
That was the point I wanted to make, that for all the criticism of baseball sometimes, when you got 375 to win the fourth innings, most days you say, come on, no chance. No chance, especially from my generation, not the 30s, by the way, much later.
I, for a second, thought you added me in that
No,
generation.
no. Anything above 300 in the fourth innings, you just assumed it was not going to happen. If we believe that England have a chance to get those runs, it is entirely because of I won't say fear, but the awareness that they have created in the
But
opposition
I think
side.
fear is
So
also a fair term because they have chased down big totals, Harsha. They chased 370 in Leeds the other day.
last year,
In
against
Leeds, they
India, they
chased
chased 370
310.
at Birmingham last year.
Exactly. They've also beaten, I think, New Zealand once chasing a big total, South Africa once. So they've done it quite consistently, batting fourth. So it's only fair to say they have played better cricket than what they have. Is that the best cricket in the world right now? I think that is very debatable. But baseball has definitely put England cricket back on the map and say we are here to compete, and they've done quite a good job at that, and that you have to appreciate.
Okay, then in the remaining time, I thought they were going to play out time. They got to 50. There were a couple of balls that misbehaved.
Hmm.
Not too many. I think I counted three, four maybe that hit the deck and took off. Towards the end, one hit Duckett quite hard on the glove. There's
Hmm.
one who actually thought Akash Deep was bowling very well in that patch. The two that went off. But I thought that last over from Siraj, to be able, he pushed the field back and then bowled that beautiful Yorker. He's just growing. I mean, he's not the youngest in the world, but he's just growing. And I think that one wicket would have made a huge impression in the English change room. But we'll talk about that and much more in Fast Forward. They started a little bit with that very cruel expression that they have coined in English. It's genuinely cruel expression, baseball with brains. I mean, it's a laugh, but it's a cruel expression. I thought they started off like that. They were looking for scoring opportunities, but now that they've lost a wicket just at close, I mean, Vokes will come out to bat only with one hand if they need 3 runs, 5 runs to win or whatever. Where do you see this game? How is it placed?
First thing I'll say, well done to India on the kind of fields that they set up right at the start.
Yes.
They had a deep extra cover for Zach Crawley. They had a deep backward square leg almost halfway, apart from the fine leg for Ben Duckett. So
So
they
a lot of
planned
those shots
nicely.
that went
Yes.
for four were going for single on nothing. Correct.
So they straight away curtail their main shots. That is
Yeah.
one. And that I give a lot of credit. You'd rather come planned than come unplanned and get smacked, which is what happened to an extent in the first inning. So that I will appreciate India for. And I have no doubt that India have a very strong chance walking into day four. I genuinely believe with the attack and with the pitch being the way it is very much within India's side
Yeah.
to win this test match and level the series 2-2. I'll even go further to say I think it's a very fair reflection of how this test series has been played. England have not run away with any test match. India have competed toe to toe and they've said, here we are, and we are a young team, but we are here to play and play aggressively. And that I have enjoyed every moment of.
It's a mountain to climb. If you look at all the run chases at the Oval historically, I know India made 400, but that was not a game that they won. Look at the biggest chases there, and what you're looking at. Forget 1902. Genuinely forget 1902. But 2024, 219 for two, they might have gone on and got 400. That's a good number. But other than that, there isn't a comparable number. When India got 400 plus here in the fourth innings, that was back in 1979 when DK was still in college. So it's difficult. It is.
1979, my parents weren't even thinking of me. Let's
Had
start
they
there.
met? Had they met?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
You're such a kid.
85, I was born. Harsha.
You're such a kid.
I am. I am.
I think you must show a little more respect for age.
Oh, I have tremendous respect.
So there you are. That is where it is. There's a lot of exciting moments as well in the game. Exciting passages, and then suddenly the game went along. A few more exciting passages. You can experience excitement yourself when you download the Cricbuzz 11 app. There's lots of exciting games down there. Download it for 1 rupee. When DK was born, 1 rupee didn't mean anything. When I was born, 1 rupee was my pocket money. So yes, 1 rupee went a long way because the little ice cream you used to get on the not even ice cream, but the water things to call it.
Now that you talk about ice cream, I just want to show all our fans.
I was hoping you would want to show it.
This is a cheesecake. Okay. When I tell people that he's on a diet, nobody believes me. Look at how much he's had. Show the camera. Yeah.
One
Small
piece.
little piece. That's
Correct.
it. Why?
I'll tell you why.
Hmm.
Because it's not good. If it was good, I might have had a little bit more. You want to try it? It's been sitting there for a while.
Thank you, sir. Very gracious.
You're hungry, no?
I want to eat better food.
No, but I resisted.
No, don't lie.
I
You didn't
resisted.
resist and all.
I-
You didn't resist. You would have had that sweet karam chikki and all. Don't say you resisted. After the cheesecake, in aggression, you would have had little more.
I did.
You
I did.
No, you must have resisted like what Zach Crowley tried in the last over and fallen prey to something else.
Irreverence, thy name is DK. Irreverence, thy name is DK. I hope you enjoyed tuning in to all of us. We've got good company among people who watch Cricbuzz. Maybe all of you, young people, who knows, you might go on to head one of the world's largest companies if you watch Cricbuzz. So who knows? So this today, from Washington Sundar to California Sundar, to all of you, I hope you enjoyed watching Cricbuzz Chatter. I think we've got a fabulous last day. If India can make it 2-2, that's a phenomenal achievement. If England make it 3-1, that's a phenomenal run chase. I hope it doesn't rain. There's some forecast. I hope it goes away. Lots to look forward to at the start of day 4. So thank you for watching Cricbuzz Chatter, brought to you in association with Cricbuzz 11, the fantasy gaming app from the house of Cricbuzz. Right? We leave you with a very hungry young man who's going to look for some proper food and who's not looking at that desert. Cheers.